Well, what a day. Let's just remind ourselves of what the wise old sage Andrew Marr said on Question Time after Sir Keir Starmer won the general election.
You look at the chaos going on in the continent, particularly in France. You look at the chaos likely ahead in the United States. And suddenly, for once, for the first time in many of our lives, actually Britain looks like a little haven of peace and stability. And that in itself is going to draw money into this country.
Well, on Saturday night, Deputy PM David Lammy threw Starmer under the bus, saying he warned him not to appoint Peter Mandelson. Yesterday, Morgan McSweeney, Starmer's Chief of Staff, he resigned. This morning, Tim Allan, Starmer's 5th Director of Communications in the last 18 months, he quit. So Starmer has thrown his staff to the wolves. Gosh, what a difference a few years makes, eh?
I had 8,000 staff for 5 years as the Director of Public Prosecutions. And I acted, I hope, in the right way with them, which is when they had victories, I celebrated on their behalf. I picked up awards on their behalves. And when they made mistakes, I carried the can. I never turn on my staff, and you should never turn on your staff.
Oh, what happened? What changed, Keir? Starmer was due to address the nation from Downing Street today, then he cancelled it. Then it emerged Starmer gave a speech to Downing Street staff, apparently saying, "We must prove that politics can be a force for good. I believe it can. I believe it is. We go forward from here. We go with confidence as we continue changing the country." I mean, forget comical Ali, you know, saying there's no US invasion of Baghdad whilst tanks and bombs are all behind him. I mean, we've got comical Keir at this point, haven't we? Look at that, there he is. I mean, the world's media took live shots of Downing Street all day today with someone in there polishing a lectern. Apparently, there was even an industrial shredder spotted outside number 10 today. Not a great look. I mean, we don't know why it was there, but of course the joke is that they might have been furiously shredding anything with Peter Mandelson's name on it. But step forward Anas Sarwar, Labour's leader in Scotland, who just openly called for Starmer to resign.
The situation in Downing Street is not good enough. There have been too many mistakes. They promised they were going to be different, but too much has happened. Have there been good things? Of course there have, many of them, but no one knows them and no one can hear them because they're being drowned out. That's why it cannot continue.
And then David Lammy was spotted going into Downing Street.
David Lammy, is it time for the PM to go?
We've waited 14 years to get here. No.
What did you say to Anas Sarwar, David Lammy?
And that's so important because just look at this, right? So my guess is that David Lammy backs Keir Starmer because never again in his life is he going to be driven around in a chauffeur-driven Range Rover. He's waited 14 years to be treated like a dignitary, and that is more important for him than morals or principles. And then, of course, this happened. Like clockwork, after being silent for days, every single Labour cabinet minister posted on social media saying Starmer has their full support. Even Angela Rayner. Oh, she says, "I urge all my colleagues to come together, remember our values and put them into practice as a team. The Prime Minister has my full support in leading us to that end." I think it'll actually mean he'll lead you into the end, Angela, because this is a circus. In fact, it couldn't be any more of a circus, even if Starmer reshuffled his cabinet by appointing a clown, a trapeze artist, a tightrope walker and a bearded lady, and then announced the new cabinet by firing a dwarf out of a cannon. Tonight, Starmer addressed his MPs in the House of Commons. He reportedly took personal responsibility and apologised for the Mandelson scandal, but refused to walk away. Apparently, they gave him a 37-second standing ovation. What are they all applauding for? Seriously, yay, we've screwed over the farmers, we've screwed over the pensioners, we've screwed over small business owners, we've screwed over everyone, got record numbers of people crossing the channel. Oh, you appointed a paedophile's friend to the US ambassador. Yay, well done, Keir. So stunning and brave, isn't it? And just when you all thought it was over, West Streeting this evening has published his texts with Peter Mandelson, in which he appears to be very worried about the Muslim vote and says that this is a government with no growth strategy at all. I mean, just think about this, right? Britain is broken. It needs urgent action. And this government isn't doing anything. Starmer's only focus is not being forced to resign. His cabinet are all trying to figure out who replaces him, and the only thing stopping them is that they're all useless, they'd crash the economy, and they'd lose an election. What a mess.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Let's get thoughts on my panel this evening. We've got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, Reform UK party member, former Tory chairman Sir Jake Berry, and journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth. Yeah, Carol, I mean, a messy day, to say the least.
Yeah, and you're just talking about the Labour Party, you know, it is rotten to the core. It no longer serves the people it was designed to serve. And it was interesting with the Scottish leader today, Sarwar. He made me think about how the UK as a country can survive, because historically, both Scotland and Wales shored up the union. They respected Labour and they trusted Labour and to do that. And now they don't. And there's talk that the Welsh leader may call for him to resign tomorrow. So that's gone. And I think, you know, we're in grave danger now. Starmer, you know, almost single-handedly with the help of people like Reeves, has actually changed the Labour Party to the point now where it will not be one of the major parties after the next election. It's going to be relegated to the toilet, and it's hard to see how they can survive. You know, the support in Scotland for Labour now is it's 15%, and in Wales it's just a piddling 10%. I mean, that is catastrophic historically. It's never been known before. So it's hard to see how the country can survive. This Labour Party is not it does not support the people it was designed to serve.
OK. Now, Jake, you have got some experience of seeing prime ministers in their final throes and presumably being told to tweet out support. I don't know if I might be able to bring that image up again, but it's of all the cabinet ministers after days of silence, clearly en masse tweeting a version of the same thing. What will be going on there?
So, I mean, what I guess is happening, having been there a couple of times before, there's a room in Downing Street, either referred to as the terracotta room or the pillared room, where you effectively set up a war room to bolster the leader. I did it with Boris, I did it with Liz Truss. Don't blame me for them, but that's what I did. And everyone in government who isn't a civil servant, so that will be political advisors, members of parliament, ministers, will come to that room every day and phone every single Labour MP and say, look, what do you want? Do you want a trade envoyship? We'll see dozens of those appointed in a couple of weeks' time. Do you want to become a Privy Councillor? Do you want to, they will try and find a list of what they want, something for your own constituency. Unbelievably, a few of them might ask for that, most of them don't. And you will spend your entire time, all day, every day, going through that list, going from the top, working through it, getting to the end of it, starting again, and the whips will be involved in it. And it is an all-encompassing task for government to save and prop up the leader. Now, the real challenge with that, Carol, yeah, of course.
And say, does there come a point in all of those meetings and chats where you all know it's over?
The fact that you've set up your war room and you're phoning everyone, you kind of already know it's over, but you decide to go out standing rather than on your knees. Okay. And the real point about this is because the entirety of the political effort, leaving the civil servants to one side, of government is focused on saving a dead duck Prime Minister Keir Starmer, everything else flips. So, there's a spring statement coming up shortly. Preparations for that will be suspended. Tackling the grooming gangs, people crossing the channel, all of that will slip. It is a government entirely focused now on this Starmer drama. And the people who aren't in the room will be the people on Wells Street and his campaign team who will be running a counter-operation. I'm sorry to say, people think politics should be a bit more grown up than this, saying, right, well, if it does happen, are you going to support Wes? Are you going to support Andy Lorraine? Or are you going to support Shabana Mahmood? Or heaven help us all, are you going to support Ed Miliband? This is a government entirely focused on itself, not on the British people.
On that, I mean, it looked like it had quieted down a little bit until Wes Streeting's text message exchanges with Peter Mandelson were published. I mean, there's a huge amount. I mean, I have not had time to go through all of them, right? I kind of landed about an hour or so before I came on air. But in it, he talks about how, I mean, his constituency and the constituency next to him has got a huge Muslim vote. We're losing that. He thinks that Israel was committing war crimes before our eyes and that Starmer should be stronger when it came to that. So, that's out there now. So there's no plan for growth, so he's kind of slamming the economics of it all. There's also, just some, in the cold light of day, some pretty quite toe-curling messages between, him and Peter Mandelson sending each other kisses and things like that, which is not a great look, is it, really? I mean, how do you think Wes fares in all of this? What does all of this really mean?
Well, I actually think, if he were running an operation, heaven forbid, then he's actually illustrating why he would be a far more competent leader because he is seeing a problem, he's seeing a nightmare situation unravelling and he's trying to get ahead of it and trying to be clear about where he stands, which is a leadership quality. So I would suggest that the fact that he's put this out there himself shows him in a positive light and would suggest that he'd probably be a far more, have his hand on the tiller of being Prime Minister.
Well, he's admitted that he's going to lose his seat, which is not a great start.
Well, look, you don't have to be the dear late Mystic Meg to figure out
that's
the majority
why he can't
of 500.
Be leader.
Well, it's not why he can't be leader at all, because the whole point of taking over the leadership of the Labour Party would be to turn the situation around so you don't lose those seats. And secondly, it's, these people will probably only have one chance at the job. You're not going to give it up for 3 years because you might lose it in 3 years.
This isn't him showing leadership. This is him saying, I'm setting up my stall because I want that job.
And that is leadership. That is exactly leadership.
No, it's not. That's actually, that's called treachery.
So I think the point is he's trying to save his own skin. He's got a very close relationship, as these messages reveal, with Peter Mandelson. He's trying to, as Linton Crosby, that famous strategist, would say, get the barnacles off the boat. But it also shows that Keir Starmer has zero authority. Wes Streeting is prepared to self-publish messages that say the Labour Party has no economic strategy. I mean, least surprising news in history, to say that, Keir Starmer is going to lose him his seat. Last week we saw Angela Rayner take over proceedings from the whips and the governments in the House of Commons. Keir Starmer has no authority. He is not running this government.
You're going all Jackie
It is
Weaver.
a perma-crisis. It is a perma-crisis, And the people who are paying the price are the British public.
Oh, the British public. So why, tonight, did we have the Labour MPs giving a standing ovation to Keir Starmer?
Because you said it, because they want to keep their jobs and they want to keep their seats and they want him in place as long as possible.
I don't think that's true.
It was said last week that Angela Rayner was walking round Westminster offering people cabinet jobs because she thinks she's going to get in there. So it's not just Streeting that's on manoeuvres, it's her as well.
I don't think it's as simple as they just want to keep their jobs, because most of them probably would under the next leader if there were to be another one.
No, they wouldn't.
Keir Starmer...
No, they wouldn't.
Well, it depends on who it is.
Well,
but Keir Starmer is not going to go anywhere for the next few weeks. And so I think that's why these Labour MPs are coming forward, because you want to have it as stable as possible. There's a country to run. I think it's a sensible, mature way for these Labour MPs to behave.
Let's just see how well these tweets, these posts that they put out today compare to the posts they're going to put out in a few weeks' time, or in May, maybe, when all of a sudden they decide that they've changed their minds, actually, and he's not the right man for the job. Also, there is, of course, a big question...
Another breaking news, the Cabinet Secretary is apparently going to resign tomorrow.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, right, brilliant. OK, well, that's good. A lovely way to round off Keir Starmer's nightmare day, isn't it? But look, we